Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and we got another update on the Emperor's Children. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. The Ecstatic Epistle, Immaculate Armaments of Agony. After risking not one but two glimpses into the roiling maelstrom of the warp, we have borne witness to the resplendent armor and the twisted visages of those who have battled beyond the limits of perception. Intoxicated by what we have seen, we have felt compelled to take a third gulp of the Empyrean. Our sight be damned, our reward is yet another tableau of impossible elegance. Alright, so super exciting. We now have some more of the 3D renders for the new Emperor's Children stuff. So far we have seen the shoulder pads, we have seen the helmets, we've seen a little bit of the iconography, and everything looks phenomenal. Now we got some weapons to go along with it. So we've got a Blastmaster, a Sonic Blaster, we've got a little Warp Flame style pistol, and then we've also got an Emperor's Children power sword as well. So I absolutely love the look and style of these. Now obviously they did a Noise Marine rendition a couple years back where we have like the guitar style Sonic Blaster. Definitely super cool. I don't expect that the rest of the stuff is going to be in that style necessarily. More just in like the cool and updated look. And now with some confirmation of the actual weapons and what we can expect, I think we got a much better idea as to the overall like look and feel of the new Emperor's Children weapons, models, and just what to expect. So first off, we have the Sonic Blaster and Blastmaster. So we have your standard issue weapon for the Emperor's Children, which is the Sonic Blaster. That's what your typical squad members are going to be armed with. And then we also have their heavy weapon for the squad, which is the Blastmaster. It has in the past had multiple weapon profiles for like a varied and then concentrated like frequency. One focused and a little more powerful, and then another with more shots but not quite as powerful. So we've got that sort of Emperor's Children face on both of them. We have a sort of like flame looking canister, and then we also see that on like what looks like a flame pistol as well. But there's a possibility that that's just the actual look and style of their weapons, but it's not actually going to be like a flame style pistol. Because in the past, the squad champion would have like a flamer profile, but it was sort of a face mask is what was doing the actual like flaming. So not sure what changes we're going to see to the actual data sheets, but here with the actual look of the new 3D sculpts, the Rens, we can get a much better idea as to the overall aesthetic of the Emperor's Children, and I think it's phenomenal. I love the incorporation of the like chaotic heads, the various different Emperor's Children iconography. We still got plenty of that chaos looking trim. We got a bunch of extra cool little like bits and aesthetics on all the weapons. The gems hanging from the actual hoses. Really, really cool. Definitely a massive fan of these. I am super excited for this. Now we don't know yet if this is going to be a upgrade kit that goes onto your like standard Marines, your typical like legionaries, or if this is going to be a full kit. But based on what we have seen in the past for the various different chaos factions, when they have gotten their Codex, they've also gotten an individual kit as well. We saw it for the Plague Marines, we saw it for the Rubric Marines, and we saw it for the Khorne Berserkers. So I would assume also that we're going to see it for the Emperor's Children Noise Marines. So I'm fully expecting this to be a complete kit. I do think there's a possibility that we get some upgrade frames as well, or even potentially a kill team, but I do think this is going to be a complete kit, and I'm definitely super excited for it. If we just scroll back up a tiny bit here, so we can see one of the 3 helmets that was shown off previously, which are awesome. We also see like the 3 different shoulder pads that were shown off, and now we have the 4 weapons as well. And then for the actual sword itself, definitely a big fan of this. I like the overall look and style of it. It's got a little bit of extra like jagged point on there. It's got a little bit more of like the rounded, sleek style. And then we also have like the little hair hanging off the bottom. We can also see from the arm on the combat weapon, the actual armor itself is a little more slim than what we've typically seen with like the chaos stuff. It still has a lot of detail in it, including like the additional hoses and everything, but it's not as big and bulky as like your typical Space Marines actual arm would be. So very, very cool. Definitely a massive fan of this stuff. I really like the overall look and aesthetic of these. I'm super excited for the actual kit to arrive, for the Codex to arrive. Now we don't know when it's going to be coming in 2025, but we do know that it is coming. There's also been rumors that they're going to roll up the Demon Codex into the individual faction codexes, but I don't think that that's nearly as likely as people are acting like it is. Now it's definitely a possibility, and I'm not ruling it out. But I just don't think Games Workshop is going to be looking to get rid of a codex that they can sell to people in the form of the Demons Codex and just rolling it up into the different various God Codexes for Chaos Space Marines, as that's just one less thing that they can sell to the customers. And Demons are a pretty popular faction. They've sold pretty well in the past. And while it might be better for actual game terms if it was all rolled up into one book, I think they look at it as more of like a marketing or sales perspective, and just selling an extra book and data cards and all the good stuff that goes along with it, dice, all the little supplementary purchases that people make. I just don't see them taking away the Demon's Codex. Now a quick word from today's sponsor, CMO Games. CMO Games carries a full range of Games Workshop products including miniatures, paint, terrain, tools, and more. They take pre-orders for most Games Workshop new releases as early as possible, usually 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. CMO Games offers 15% off of MSRP for most all Games Workshop products and offer fast free shipping to the continental United States on orders over $50. Most orders ship out within 24 hours. You know their customer service is top-notch as they've been selling games online for over 20 years. Use the affiliate link below and let them know that Warhammer Man sent you. So that all being said, we've also had the announcement of the Eldari Codex, the Astra Militarum Codex, and then the Imperial Knights Codex coming in 2025 as well, probably in the first quarter. So we don't know exactly where the Emperor's Children is going to sit relative to those. I would imagine those three are probably coming first, and then hopefully the Emperor's Children Codex. So hopefully at least in the first half of 2025, but I don't think it's necessarily going to jump the queue and come out before them. Obviously a lot more work is going into making a brand new codex, fully flushing it out, at least to where you put your models in the game on the table and feel like you have an actual codex and not just like an index army that's in a book. I do definitely expect them to roll out a couple of new characters as well, and then probably some kind of like unique unit, something in the elites area. I would love to see it be some Terminators, some jump troops, maybe some bikes coming back. I would imagine that we're going to see Lucius the Eternal as one of the characters. There's also been some talks of Doom Rider or some of the other characters from the lore returning. But for me, the number one is I really want to see Lucius, and then obviously I want to see a Primarch as well. We saw Fulgrim get released in forgeworld resin and really nice model for 30k. I would love to see something in the overall like look and style of that, but in plastic for 40k. And I think based again on what we've seen in the past, we got Mortarion, we got Magnus, we got Angron. All of those came with the arrival of the new codex. So I fully expect that we're going to see a Fulgrim in plastic for 40k right alongside the new codex for the Emperor's Children. So very, very cool. So far, I absolutely love the aesthetic. I am super excited for Emperor's Children. They've always been one of my favorite armies and by far my favorite of the Chaos factions. So let's hope that we get everything we're looking for and a little bit more. Before us lies a quartet of tools expressly designed to inflict exquisite harm on their targets and languorously torture the unwitting through deft application of sensations that rest on the edge of mortal perception. The cacophonous wailing from the warped promise that there is more to see. If only we can abandon ourselves to the dark promises poured into our minds. If you're willing to join us, check back in the Warhammer community for more soon. Okay, so really just like the 3D print renders of these 4 items. No specific information on like release dates or time, but super exciting. I know I am absolutely ecstatic for this. Let me know if you're excited for the Emperor's Children. Also, if you have any speculations as to what type of army rule they're going to get. So we've seen with Death Guard, they have like the debuff aura and the ability to like sticky objectives, which is pretty cool. The sort of like rot and contagion that sort of infests the battlefield as they expand. With Thousand Suns, we have the Cabal points, which grant them additional abilities and like the equivalents of extra psychic stuff that they can do. A sort of pool of points that they can spend to do extra stuff inside the game. And then for the World Eaters, we have their various blessings that grant the entire army an army-wide special rule or 2. And then the ability to bring back Angron the Primarch when he dies, should your dice rolls allow it. So I'm not really sure what we're going to get for Emperor's Children, but just looking at what they have in Age of Sigmar, Slaanesh there basically has a similar style mechanic, which is pretty cool. It essentially allows you to tempt your opponent with like rerolls or like dice mechanics. So you grant their army like an extra little buff of temptation, but it comes at a cost of mortal wounds. So it's a sort of double-edged sword of temptation, which is pretty cool. And then again, you get a sort of pool of points that you can build up. And then as you get more and more of those points built up, your army gains some bonuses accordingly. And then there's also other ways that you can add to your pool by killing units in close combat, achieving certain objectives, or special powers like the equivalents of like enhancements or built-in psychic abilities of some of your individual HQs that help you to build up that pool quicker. And then once again, in addition to granting you additional army-wide bonuses, you also have the ability to summon greater demons and stuff like that. I would absolutely love to see a mechanic similar in style to what they've done in Age of Sigmar, but obviously with a unique kind of twist for 40k. And I fully think that what we've seen with the parallels between Age of Sigmar and 40k, that we probably do get something along those lines. So let me know what would make you happy, what you think is coming. Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments, and as always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on most Games Workshop products, and make sure to tell them that Warhammer Man sent you. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I cannot even express how excited I am for what's coming for Warhammer 40k in 2025. And while I'm excited for the other codexes that we're going to get, the Emperor's Children is definitely at the top of my list. And I'm out of here.